Good morning, everybody. For those took a nap, and I was right back at it. Had to charge the battery for a little bit and get right back to it. Get back to the grind. Now, here is the bigger picture, because people need to see or hear it. So here it is. I want to say, first and foremost, is that people with money, people without money, means, or whatever, it doesn't matter. Life is life. And people go through the same problems. And other people think that money fixes a lot of the problems. It really does not. It adds new ones to the table that didn't even exist with people without it. That people without money, man, you could really just be like envious of the way the process moves now. They're like, man, you know, imagine you working at your job and you making like 32,000 a year, and it's all over ESPN. Bob Johnson just got an employment from his raise, and now will be making 32,000. Previous year he made 27. This is a big jump for Mr. Johnson. They're gonna be damn, dog. You only get paid 32,000. It's like you would be upset that somebody was in your business, putting all your business all over the internet. And all over television. People be very upset about that. Highly upset about it. And with professional athletes, their information, their life becomes public. They call them public figures. So everything you did in life is going to be thrown on a television screen, and someone's going to be talking about it every day. And you have to be okay with it. Well, not all professional athletes are LeBron James. Not all professional athletes are of the upper echelon. Some may have never played in an all-star game, but they can make a lot of money. They can win NBA championship. You see Trevor Ariza comes along. I remember him, that 09 season. He didn't miss a three-point shot he took in the playoffs. In the entire playoffs. Any three he took, he hit. And they won a championship with Trevor Ariza. And they had an option to re-sign Trevor Ariza, who basically played himself into a contract. A big long-term contract deal. But instead of re-signing Trevor Ariza, they decided to get more defensive and bring in Ron Artest and traded Trevor Ariza for Ron Artest. Now, this might not mean anything to you, but Artest did really good for Houston when he was there, but he was too temperamental and would lose it when they get deep in the playoffs, they couldn't trust him. So he wanted to go play with Kobe. Kobe wanted him, so they got him. And he told him, we lost a great guy with Trevor Ariza. The Lakers organization loved him. So to bring Trevor Ariza back to the team to finish his career was something the Laker fans wanted to see happen, because they always say, man, I think we should have kept, found a way to keep Ariza, man, because Artest, really that first year, he wasn't really the same no more. So, that was brought to light. Then, on top of everything, Trevor Ariza, all of these things he was doing, people didn't know he was an entirely different man. You've been hearing all the things about him and his wife, or ex-wife now, Bree, or estranged wife, the mother of his children, and how terrible that has been. The whole NBA knows what's been going on with Trevor Ariza. Almost the entire NBA knows. And when I mean the NBA, I ain't talking about like all the players. I'm talking about the coaches. I'm talking about the general managers. I'm talking about presidents of the organization. Now, I understand you're an athlete. These women are going to come after you. They're going to try to take your money. We know that story. But we also know that professional athletes can be very vindictive against people who don't normally come from money and don't want to pay what they feel they shouldn't have to pay, and will do tactics that many will find unbecoming. And we know certain professional athletes have problems that is not expressed to the rest of the world. So we can't always say, well, I think it's the woman's fault. She just wants his money. First, you don't know how much money there is. Two, when you see somebody with the marks on their face, you see someone with the actual abuse charges, the prints, the 911 calls. Things are there, and this is why he wasn't put back on another team. They already know about these charges. Now, you can go ahead and say, make the claims of what is or what isn't. But when people see that and they hear about it and they know how nasty it is, they don't want to be attached to it. And the story, I only talked about this on the Patreon when it was going on. I didn't want to get involved in it. But a lot of people was complicit and turned a blind eye to the situation when they knew it was a problem. Because they kept saying, I don't want to be involved. Like it's their mess. But the situation is going to get a lot crazy as it continues to get crazy. because they got children involved, and a whole lot of different situations and scenarios are presenting themselves. Now, stereotypes is always going to happen, um, and let's not say he's guilty. You know, he's an innocent man to proven guilty, but there's been certain tactics and things done in this situation as arguments ensue. The 911 call and the report after he was caught allegedly having an affair with another woman. He gets confronted and allegedly gets violent. Arrests were made. He's been accused of trying to hide his money so that she couldn't get his money. So it's a whole lot of stuff that's going on. But the marks that she got on her face, her neck, her arms, the threats, it's hard to argue that in a court of law. It's gonna be real hard. And sometimes professional athletes can use their celebrity power as a prison. They can use that power to hold people down or uplift certain people. They have that privilege to where they can just say, you know what, I got the money, I got the control. I could submerge anything that you try to do. You can't go to TMZ, you can't go anywhere because I'll put my money on it. But with all of this back and forth in court, I don't know how much he has left or how much he spent so far on his finances. But I can tell you this, it's not looking good. It's definitely not looking good for him. And now her brother's gotten involved. The brother has allegedly pulled a gun on Trevor Ariza and put a gun to his face. So this is a very serious situation, you know, no matter how you look at it. But all of this was done and being done, this whole case, out of the press. Nobody was really speaking on it. I talked about it on the Patreon, but now it's getting worse and worse. And then the only time we'll hear about it is, God forbid, Trevor Ariza goes crazy, takes somebody's life, or he takes his own life, or somebody loses a life, then we'll hear about it. And then be like, damn, I didn't even know what was going on. Then they'd be like, why ain't nobody help him? Where's his homeboys that's in the industry? Where's Chris Paul? Wasn't Chris Paul his boy? Right. I don't believe that no man should ever hit a woman, because now you lost your argument. You lost everything. You've lost your identity. you have lost everything that makes you whole. Because that means you lost. Anybody who hit the other person, they lost the argument. They couldn't use their words anymore. So you've automatically lost. Me, I was always good at words and arguments. So I don't even have to yell. The calmer I talk, the worse it is for them. And it drives them insane. Because I'll be winning the argument, and then the women be wanting to fight me. They get so mad, they want to hit me. Because I act like I don't really care what they're saying. And I'm just like, I'm just going to say the facts. So what you saying is that, like, you always right and I'm always wrong. Pretty much. I think that's exactly the point. It's just, see, you think it's a joke. No, I don't. So you think you're always right. In this situation, when it comes to me and you, I'm batting 100. So I just have blunt honesty that they're not, they're not accepted to. So when I hit them with that blunt honesty, so it's just, I'm the crazy one, and you, pretty much, you, I would say, I won't clarify you as crazy. I would say you acting crazy. But when you start putting your hands on and hitting, most men do that when they feel like they're guilty of something. According to this 911 situation and what was reported, he was caught cheating, and she caught him cheating after she had suspicions, and then it turned into a physical altercation. So there's one point where she alleges she almost lost her life. She was seconds away from being choked to death by Mr. Ariza, according to the reports and the statements. I didn't talk about this here. I kept it on the Patreon. So you guys probably never knew about it. But the Patreon, you follow the Carcino for Life Patreon, you already know. You've already seen the photos. You've already seen the situation. And I don't care how many shots you hit on the cord, that's just not acceptable. By no standards. No male should feel that's acceptable. No matter how much of a fan people are, if what she's alleging is true, and based on the reports and everything else, it's not acceptable. Well, here's the misconception. The misconception is that once you're through playing basketball and you've made all these millions of dollars, that you've made enough money, hey, how you doing, to take care of yourself for the rest. So you're not living in a $700,000 house. You're living in a 1 point something house, where we call them the pointless. You live in a point house, 2.5, 1.2. You're not living in a $700,000 house, $600,000 house. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that yeah, pretty much. A lot has amassed from what you're seeing right now. I think there's a miscommunication in what happened in those scenarios, because it's clear to everyone else who seems to see the messages and everything else. They get the writings on the wall. So tell you flat out, your spending has to be reduced, and you have to curb it down to what your pension is or what you're going to be receiving. Unless you're Charles Barkley, you're not going to be getting a $100 million contract to do broadcasts. Well, athletes are going, instead of getting a sponsorship, they're being paid to just keep the airway. What's up? I see you having technical difficulties again on my page. You know why? I have no idea. But I hope they work it out. Now, have it ever failed to the imagination of the general public of what's actually transpiring and going on here? Athletes, have you looked at people like John Stockton, Utah Jazz, John Stockton? Have you looked at a lot of the white athletes that have played? Mark Price, Craig Elo, Jeff Hornacek, all of these players, Bill Walton, all of the white players that normally play in the NBA, you never hear about their financial troubles at all. I'm not saying they don't even have any. I'm saying you don't even hear about it. They don't even mention it. Not once. That's the illusion they want to give you. But it's all about the management of funds. They grow up in a different society and different bracket than a lot of the people that are black that come into the league. Most of the people that are black that come into the league actually do come from money. They want you to believe that everyone that comes into the NBA is from the ghetto and they just come into money. It's not true. The real special ones make it out the hood to the NBA. Very far few in between do you get people from the hood that actually go to the NBA. These are lies. Okay? It's the illusion. Most of these people that come to the NBA are not from the hood. These guys are from normally suburban neighborhoods. They went to college. They were good kids. And most of them had to keep up a certain grade point average to remain on the team. So why is it that most of these athletes can't keep their money? But these white athletes, they can live certain lives. Because a lot of these black athletes that come in there, they want to gravitate and relate to the image of those in the hood. They want the approval of those guys in the hood who dress flashy, who's rocking Prada. Now they got the money to buy the stuff that the people in the hood are doing. So the hood love this, we gonna rock that. Now they gonna love me in the hood, even though you're not from the hood. The people in the hood gonna be like, yo, he's what's happening. So you're wasting your money on jewelry, fancy clothes, cars, things that depreciate in value. Why the normal white NBA basketball player, he's not trying to impress dudes from the hood. No. Where he lives, they don't try to impress them. They try and impress the neighbors. They just want the neighborhood kept up. They want their kids in good schools. They're looking into investment planning. All of these estate plannings. The majority of them are all married. Their wives are not trying to go to the club, not trying to do it for the gram. They're trying to do what's better. Meanwhile, you're spending all your money trying to impress people with no money. Then when it's all said and done and your career is over and you're not playing anymore, and those bills are going to keep coming on the first consistently. The first is here. Bill, 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 bill. And you're going to be, damn. Now you can't keep up. Now you're taking out loans. Now you're in debt. So they'll never have to face that. Plus, they're going to get appraised for a lower rate anyway, just based on the color of their skins. That's just how they do it. So They're going to get a lower rate than you. So they're not spending all their money on their house. And crazy loans they can never get from under. Just like me now. I'm going on my morning walk through my neighborhood. White guy can do a morning walk. It's called a morning walk. It's getting some good exercise. But I gotta do a morning walk. He's casing houses. It's all about the analogy, right? And the image. But you can't change other people's perceptions. You can't live by those. You can only go by how you view yourself. That's it. I can't go around worried about what they think about me. If you do that, you'll be a prisoner to other body's ideals and thoughts. That's why these people got all this plastic and surgeries and all that. They damn anxiety and insecurities torturing them, making them prisoners in their own damn life. Logic goes out of the window when people make perceptions. If they can accuse a 13-year-old of trying to break in and rob stuff, what you think they don't think about me? All they see is he's black. It's possible. Now, here's the notion. When you don't know how to take care of your own money, these problems are going to present themselves. You have to learn how to take care of your own money. Make the investments for yourself. You see, we watched the draft this year, and you know what we saw a lot? Black fathers. As I was telling you, there are a lot, it's a great uptick of more fathers being at home with their children. That uptick is going up because women are still able to get stamps now, even with the man being in the household. When before they would just, chase you out. Couldn't be in the same house. Now that doesn't exist anymore. Ain't nobody coming there to make sure a man don't live there anymore. Girl could have her baby daddy or her new man staying there, or her booty call or whatever, because most fathers and mothers are not even married. But a lot of these people that come in the NBA, as you saw, they came from mother, father, household. And a lot of these kids were scholastically great, as well as professional athletes. One of the NBA players that got drafted, he was into forensic science. The other one was studying bones. Like studying the decay of bones and all that. Like he can go work for CSI. The other one was doing physicist work. And these are black students. So if the education is there, we will learn it. But if it's not provided to you, you don't have these opportunities, and you're at a disadvantage than the next person. Why do you think they don't teach economics in a lot of the public schools? Because they don't, economics is not what they want from you. They don't want you learning about economics. I couldn't tell you one city school that was teaching or had an economics class. Out here, economics is required. But they give you the perception that the black father doesn't exist. Film, television, everything. There's no black fathers. Now they're pushing the Indian culture. Now, when the push of the Indian culture, you have more Indian programming, Indian TV shows, and I mean like American style Indian, not like Pakistani, like the American style Pakistani, where they're more modern, suburbanized white kids. That's how they act and carry themselves. And they normally date who? Who do they date in the movies? A preppy, suburbanized white guy. They can't live without him. Then the Jonas brother, what does he do? He marries one. And that's the narrative that they shift. But in reality, a lot of those girls are dating, married, have children with black guys. But you never see that. They'll never promote that either. That's the perceptions. So if you make someone invisible, people will start to cease to believe it. And they start to follow the ideas of the programming they see on television. A lot of things people do now is suggested through television and film. They just don't know it. And we were just talking about higher learning the other day. We were just talking about higher learning. Either yesterday or the day before. The days get blurred with me because when you don't sleep, when everybody else sleeps, those lines get blurred. So while they're sitting there having these conversations, going over all of these different tropes, right? People never took the time to stop and think and say, hey, what in the heck are we doing here? No one's ever stopped to think about that. It's 2023. Dr. King's been gone for about 70 years. And we knew how to manage our money better back then than now. Because we was taught the protection of family first. Make sure your wife and kid is okay. We understood banking, how the banks work. We understood percentages. Right now, if you give an actual loan to an African American, that loan would be at like 34%, or probably at 25%. Black guy wouldn't even care. They give you a minimum rate to pay. If you pay the minimum rate, you will be paying probably 3 times what that loan is actually for by the time it's all said and done. 3 times. Now, there's certain ways you could deal with it. In other ways, probably wouldn't be able to deal with it. But like they always say, one thing's for sure, 2 things are for certain. We have to. It's imperative for your own survival to be able to do better for yourselves financially. It's imperative that you do. Because the less you know about your finances, the harder it's going to be for you to ever make a life in this society. You have many professional athletes going broke or losing all of their revenue or being reduced to be making tens and twenties and thirties millions of dollars. It just doesn't make sense. They try to do quick, get rich quick, because people come to them with get rich quick schemes. Real money is made in the long haul. Let me repeat that. Real money is made in the long haul. Okay? That's where the real money is. The real money is not going to be made where you think. People think if they put a big lump sum down, they're going to get a big payoff, good quick one. No. Real money is made from smart investments, not get rich quick schemes. Being in the right place at the right time at the right moment. Being a part of something already, that by the time something catches up to it, you already have it because you have innate value. You build up enough innate value into something, someone else has to acquire it. Or it's a needful thing someone can live without because of the technology of their time. Or that moment in time, it has become very valuable. That property has become very valuable. You see, everybody see Arnold Schwarzenegger as this bodybuilder who all of a sudden, got a movie role. He got the role, the part was big, and he just blew up his rest of his career. That didn't happen. He did a lot of movies that people didn't even see, and they was awful. But one thing he did was take his winnings and his earnings from his bodybuilding and appearances to buy real estate. So he was a millionaire before he even went out for movies. He bought real estate in California right when they were building and doing construction that was going to raise the property value around it. So he became a millionaire because he owned the right piece of property at the right time. So he was a millionaire before he did Conan the Barbarian. He was already a millionaire, so he wasn't a starving actor. So he could say no to certain things he didn't want to do. It's a whole lot of different things that they don't tell you that's essential. If you look at the people that have the influence and the power in the world, these people got there from things that people wouldn't even understand, like a pay site, like PayPal, or any type of currency, anything that has something to do with transactions, are normally going to be the currency of the world. The pay structure, people want less fees, more, more control of their power. But everything is about quickness. What can be done quickly? How can you protect my money? And how is my money insured, protected from fraud or anything? So you want to have these foundations in place because this industry system is built on the transfer of goods. That's how money is generated. Goods and services is how money is generated, is how everything goes up or down. Real estate actually doesn't cost too much. See, that's why you need to be on the Patreon, my Casino for Life Patreon, to help get you there. Real estate is really not that expensive because you can go in with partners. You can have all of you can all put up a piece of something and own something actually large, like a mutual fund. This is how funds are created. People put in their millions together and make a billion. And then you have all this money into a fund that you could use for investment projects. That's why you see all the rich people have partners. They're not doing it by themselves. That's why you could become a venture capitalist and invest in other projects. Nas wasn't super rich, and he would join the right people and got with venture capitalists. And next thing you know, he's making $90 million, $100 million off of projects that they bought into, like the ring technology, that netted him about 30, 40 million. Then he just sold another technology property that they invested in. So again, and that's why, Corey Thompson, you probably won't succeed or get to that level. Everybody partners with someone. You just have to have the right partner where you could still be your own boss, still have your own company, but what you're doing is partnering. You're like your corporation, their corporation. We're doing business, transactions, investments. You could be in a party of 7 or 8 different companies. Do you think one company makes a movie? When you look at the movie and before the title screen come on, they show you all these different companies in the beginning. Now you have one major company like Universal, but in between there, it's about 15 different people that help make the movie. It'd be all their promo labels or whatever coming up. A Porterhouse film with upper management legacy films. All of this, all in the same movie. Like he's saying, like me, I'm a walking, talking, breathing business. So I can take my business and partner with like Kwame Brown's business. Me and Kwame Brown ain't on the same team, but he'll have his company, I'll have my company. We'll be a partnership in something. So my company would get paid, his company would get paid. Then the company will have to pay its employees. I'm an employee of my company, so I have to pay myself. You see what I'm saying? And Kwame Brown would have to pay himself. I wouldn't have to pay Kwame Brown because he's not employed by me. We're partners. You see, and this is just an example. People, we're not actually in the middle of a business thing. Just use that as an example. Yes, you can. That's the thing. Everybody could be a boss. Everybody can be an independent contractor. See, back in the slave days, you were. They were called indentured servants. See, you weren't the responsibility of them anymore. The masters, they didn't have to be in charge of your food or nothing. You did your own work, but you were your own boss. You had to pay your own taxes. You had to do everything. You were indentured servants. Well, the more people talk, the more they gossip and they speak on elements of things they just don't know or understand. So if you're not in the world of business, it probably will be alien to you to hear such terminology or ideal thinking outside the box. But everyone else in the business setting world, that's just basic common sense, is that you know you're going to have to work with somebody. Somebody be like, I want to own 100% of everything. Well, if you own 100% of everything and can't nobody else make money, why do you want to do business with you? Sometimes the best thing to do is to have a partner or say, okay, you can get 3% of this. I own the majority share. As long as you own the majority share and the controlling shares of the company, that's the shares that you're going to be most likely to, those are the shares you're going to be more likely to matter, is having the most controlling shares. How do you think people get their money? You think Mark Zuckerberg owns 100% of Facebook? That is completely not true. No, he owns the majority shares of Facebook. But he has partners who financed and put the money into Facebook. They got a percentage too. So if Mark Zuckerberg doesn't own 100% of Facebook, if he owned 100% of Facebook, Facebook would be bankrupt and out right now. Ted Turner was always richer than Bill Gates because Ted Turner owned the most land of anybody in the United States of America. So does Morgan Freeman. A lot of people don't know that. Morgan Freeman, and he has acres and acres of property that people have not even known, but he's big in the real estate. Ted Turner owned so much real estate, he was able to take over all cable television. He got a percentage for all of it. Here's the thing, black people, us people of color, we have the money. That's the thing. People, they think there's no money in the ghetto. There's money in the ghetto. Okay, there's people in the hood that lives way better than people who out here in the burbs. These people struggle. They owe bills. They in debt like crazy out here, just like they are in the city. You ain't really got that kind of debt. Most people they got a job and still get government assistance. It's just that you don't have the better schools. the better food locations and a lot of the tourist spots, and all your property value in your house ain't gonna be that great. But you got money. You have the choices to save a lot more than the people out here. So it's just that what you choose to spend it on. Your mind isn't right. Your mind is not thinking in the right space. Your mind is thinking, I gotta get these rims. I gotta get the new Jordans. I'm gonna buy some things that's gonna depreciate in value. I'm gonna buy some Jordans and put them in a case and save them. For what? You're not gonna get rich off those. You're gonna be wearing those shoes. That's for people with money. They buy that as an investment and say, well, I'm into shoe investments. I'm gonna buy this shoe because this shoe is limited. They've only made 100 or some of these, so I could collect them like art pieces. When you buy something like art, you don't buy to just put it on display to be torn up or altered. Right, people buy gym shoes because they like gym shoes. They're gym shoes fanatic. So this is like it's like saying somebody like video games. Buying a bunch of video games is not going to make you a lot of money unless you're using that to build your video gaming channel and you're actually making good revenue from it. 9 times out of 10 is very far few in between that is making very good revenue off of gaming unless they're really good at gaming and they have a following. Other than that, these people just like the games. They can care less about being successful or the business aspect of it. There's always going to be people to try to scam you. That's the realities of the world. So if you know people are going to try to scam you, it's like, what is your defense against it? People are always going to try to take advantage of someone else who have something and they have nothing. What I try to do is stay grounded, and thanks to everybody who donated to my Cash App. William Livingston, shouts out to you for the super thanks. Um, Appreciate it. People just do what they can, man. They want to show their support and they love the information they're getting. That's why I say sign up to the Casino for Life Patreon, because we are getting back to this is the week for the business. So we're going to be back on talking business over there. But we just have to start doing better financially as a people. We already realize we have limited education, but you don't really need it. You have your own classroom right here in your hand, and that's that telephone. You could take classes right there. You can go on YouTube and learn how to do something. Saying, how should I proceed going into this? They have tutorial classes right here on this YouTube. So it's about what your brain is programmed to be paying attention to. If all you're thinking about is Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat, and TikToks now, that's where your mind is. Your mind is in that area, that zone of getting useless information that's not going to help you in your everyday walk of life, improve your station in life, and your family's well-being, and your future. You can't think for tomorrow. You got to think for 20, 50 years from now, where you might not be here, but your family could be straight. That's what you got to think about. and start positioning for that and saying, well, how do I get that done? So, well, I still know people that the only thing that'll be under my mattress is a gun. That's it. It'll be like the mattress under the gun. I would have it under the pillow, but under the mattress is better for me. If I had it under the pillow, I'd been and shot somebody next to me by accident. My hand be under the pillow, like, ah! Oh, damn. Damn. My sheets. Damn. Now I gotta go to the cleaners. Damn. On my walls. Oh my God. Now it's everywhere. Damn. So, I mean, that's the thing. You can win the Powerball and still go broke. How many times you seen black folks win the Powerball and end up broke in a few years because they don't know how to keep money? First thing people do is, I'm gonna quit my job. You know how many people quit their jobs and went trying to go back and get their job back less than 2 years later? Ran through millions in 2 years. Some are dead. They died with millions of dollars. Got set up, life's gone. Somebody killed them for the money. And I mean, like, buried them in the backyard and was still living in the house, spending the money. So if I had that kind of, it would be entirely different. If I got that kind of money, that money is going to be either multiplied because I would have the finances to get into certain projects that would guarantee I have certain amount of income coming in per year, and I don't live above a certain standards. Like my means would definitely be taken care of. I won't get into an area where I'm living off of the interest of the money. Rather than me living off of the money, I'm living off of the interest of the money. So the money I'm making on the interest, I'm living off that. And that's more than enough for what I need to do in 24 hours. All right. Oh, definitely. Go ahead and subscribe to the Patreon because we're going to get back into the business aspect of things and start talking business. So, speak to y'all later. Deuces.